Alright, hey, this is Combo Envoy again. In this video, I'm showing you the cards of my fourth best deck, which is the Dragon and Blackwing deck. So, yeah, there's only one Synchro, Stardust Dragon. I'm not going into effect since I believe everyone remembers it. Then I'll go to the normal monsters, well, the non-Synchro and Fusion monsters, which are Red Eyes Darkness Metal. Remove from play one face-up dragon type monster you control. Special summon this card. Once per turn during your main phase, you can special summon one dragon type monster from your hand or graveyard except Red Eyes Darkness Metal. Next off is Strong Wind Dragon, which its effect. This card cannot be destroyed by battle with a monster that has the same attack. When this card is tribute summoned by tributing a dragon type monster, it gains attack equal to half the tributed monster's attack, and it can inflict piercing damage. Then there's Blue Eyes White Dragon, which I use to sacrifice for Strong Wind Dragon. Then there's Dark Blaze Dragon, which when this card is special summoned from the graveyard, its attack and defense increase to become twice the original attack and defense. When this card destroys a monster by battle, it inflicts damage to your opponent equal to the attack of the destroyed monster. So basically, it's a dragon version of Flame Wingman, but if you special summon it in the graveyard, it's more powerful. And there's Horus the Black Flame Dragon level 6. Basically, it's not affected by spells, and it can special summon Horus level 8, which I do not have. Iron Dragon level 5. Discard a monster, destroy a monster whose attack is less than that, and it special summons Arm Dragon level 7, which I don't have. Then Blackwing Kalut the Moonshadow. When a Blackwing monster you control attacks or is attacked, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard during the damage step to have that monster gain 1400 attack until the end phase. Then there's Blackwing Mistral the Silver Shield, which if this card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, reduce the battle damage you take from the next attack this turn to 0. So basically, if it's destroyed by battle or by an effect, you will take 0 battle damage from the next attack. And there's Blackwing Shore of the Blue Flame, which when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can it has to go, that monster has to go to the graveyard. You can special summon one Blackwing with 1500 or less attack from your deck, and that monster's effect is negated. Next is Blackwing Fang Steel Chain, which this card can attack your opponent directly. When this card attacks your opponent directly and inflicts battle damage to your opponent, change one attack position monster your opponent controls to defense. And I use this effect with Strong Wind Dragon, so I can also deal piercing damage. And there's Blackwing Ghibli the Searing Wind, which when your opponent declares a direct attack, you can special summon this card from your hand, and once per turn you can switch the original attack and defense of this card until the end phase. Now let's go on to the spells. There's Ground Collapse, which select 2 monster card zones on the field. Neither player can use the selected zones, and you cannot select a zone that is occupied by a monster. I like this effect because it just says select 2 monster card zones. It didn't say who's to pick, so I could just pick 2 of my opponents, and they can only have 3 monsters on the field at a time. While this deck, which is made for special summoning, can have 5 monsters in the first few turns. Then there's Level Modulation, which my opponent draws 2 cards, and you can special summon 1 level monster from your graveyard, and ignoring the summoning conditions, but that monster cannot attack or use its effect that turn. And then there's Cursed Armaments, which the equipped monster loses 600 attack for each monster you control, and when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can select 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and equip it with this card. So basically, if your opponent keeps summoning a monster every turn while this card is on the field, whenever it gets destroyed, you can just keep selecting a monster until all your opponent's monsters are destroyed. Then there's Mountain, increase the attack and defense of all dragons and winged beasts and thunder type monsters by 200. Now, on to the traps. First off, Dragon's Bead, discard a card from your hand, negate the activation of a trap card that targets one face-up dragon type monster and destroy it. Damage Gate, activate only when you take battle damage. Special summon one monster from your graveyard with attack less than or equal to the amount of damage you took. Widespread Ruin, activate only when your opponent's monsters declare an attack. Destroy one attack position monster your opponent controls with the highest attack. If it's a tie, you get to choose. Half or Nothing, activate only during your opponent's battle phase. Your opponent selects one of the following effects: half the attack of all the monsters they control until the end phase, or end the battle phase. Fake Feather, send one Blackwing monster from your hand to the graveyard and select one normal trap card in your opponent's graveyard. The effect of this card will be the same as the selected normal trap card. And as you can see, there's Grave Robber in the card art, but some other cards that you might want to pick is cards like Ring of Destruction, Magic Cylinder, and some other good normal traps. Dragon's Rage, basically all dragon monsters inflict piercing damage. So, yeah. Black Thunder, which is when activate only when a Blackwing monster you control is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard. Inflict 400 points of damage to your opponent for each card they control. Which, if your opponent likes to set a lot of spells and traps, it's really good against them. Miniaturize. The selected monster loses 1,000 attack and it loses 1 level. And when that monster is gone, so is this card. And finally, Burst Breath. Offer a dragon type monster on your side of the field. Destroy all face-up monsters on the field whose defense is equal to or lower than the attack of the attributed monster. Which can be bad for you if you offer a monster and none of your monsters have defense that measure up to it. And that's pretty much it for the key cards of my Dragon and Blackwing deck. Up next is the Seki